Check 1, 2.
Well, hello there, boyfriend. How are you this fine day?
I'm really good.
Is it working?
Yes.
Excellent. Let's not touch shit.
I'm afraid to ask, but I have a great question.
I don't even know what I was going to say. I'm so disturbed right now.
All right. This is Afraid to Ask. We are broadcasting, not live, but remotely from Big Sky, Montana. And,
Oh my gosh. There's banana puree in my beverage.
yeah, I can't believe this hasn't come up before. You're drinking a banana-flavored drink?
No, banana cream. It's like a dessert. It's wonderful.
Don't you feel like banana cream is also banana-flavored?
I meant like pie. It sounds like a delicious...
Well,
Okay, what trash do you want to talk? Go
no,
ahead.
I just find banana. I think I find any banana.
It
I just find it to be
cream pie in a can is what it says.
Yeah, it's
Yum.
It's vile. I go lemon as my favorite artificial sweetener. I
This
like a
isn't
banana.
artificial. This is all organic.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Huh. Well, that's cool.
Natural banana cream flavor, banana
Organically.
puree,
Disgusting.
and there's prebiotics, and there are 9 grams of fiber in this drink.
Can I be honest with you? We go to Whole Foods, we go to these co-op shops, and it used to just be, this is a slight rant, there used to just be you would go work out and come home. It was great. And then one day they were like, there's a pre-workout drink, a workout drink, a post-workout drink, there's prebiotics, probiotics. What did people do before that?
Died.
They did really? Was it that big a deal?
They got bad workouts and they died.
No, are you being
prematurely.
serious? Why are people drinking prebiotics? I'm asking you a medical question because I feel like it's too much shit. I feel like there's too many things that we're supposed to do. What is the advantage of a prebiotic?
Well, we are now aware that your immunity, a lot of your cells in your immune system are actually in the lining of your intestines, in your gut.
Mine or everybody's?
Everyone's.
Oh.
So your gut health is incredibly important
You're saying
for
I have a
your
gut?
overall health. So getting good bacteria to restore that is important. Because think about all the stuff we ingest that has bad stuff. I don't mean preservatives and stuff. I mean bacteria, like when people get food poisoning.
Yes.
Or say you do take an antibiotic. The bad part about that is it wipes out kind of all of it, right? The good bacteria and the bad bacteria.
Can I ask you a favor? I mean, you're the
So
doctor.
it's called flora. It's like a good healthy
Flora and
amount.
fauna?
Well, kind of. Our bodies are like our own rainforests, but you have to have the good bacteria to fight off the bad stuff from growing. So, for example, say somebody takes an antibiotic and afterwards they develop a yeast infection.
Okay.
It's because all of the good bacteria got wiped out, and now this yeast that normally is there but gets, I can't grow because this other stuff, it's now free to range. So, you have to restore the good bacteria after you wipe your system out, which is one of the reasons we hate to give antibiotics over and over or unnecessarily. One of the reasons.
Yeah, and so prebiotics help with that?
Well, basically, you're giving your gut function the good stuff.
I know it's a medical term, but when you refer to mine, could you call it ab health instead of gut health? I feel like you're insulting me.
Internal gut.
I have one.
Internal gut.
Internal abs? What about...
Well, everyone technically you could call them internal abs. We all have abs because they're muscles.
And we all have a gut, and it doesn't mean you have a gut.
Correct.
Right? So we all have abs. We all have a gut. Even the fattest guy in the world has abs under there.
That's
it's about
right.
revealing. You can build those muscles, but
That's right.
sometimes I feel like I know something, and I'm like, I'm going to add just one tiny little thing to all your intelligence.
What did you just add?
Did fat guys have abs? I repeated it
I
after
already
you
said
said
that,
it.
though.
Well, who repeated it?
I love you, but well, my banana cream pie drink is delicious and it has prebiotics and live cultures in it and basically helps to promote digestive health.
I like that.
Fiber as well, right? Consider it the Brillo pad of the lining of your intestines. It's scrubbing everything out.
So we recommend...
This is
You recommend
massively
prebiotics.
over-exaggerated.
You're unfortunately recommending a disgusting flavor, but there are others.
It's so good. I think you should try just a sip. Just a little sip.
I'll try a sip. Can I tell you a story about one of my kids?
Why do you hate bananas so much?
Just the taste of... this is so disgusting.
It's so good.
I would rather have the interior lining of my stomach decay than take another sip of that.
Okay, well then tomorrow we can podcast. I also have I have a cola one, and I have a strawberry vanilla, I think.
I'm interested.
And then I think I got a ginger lime for you or something like that.
That's nice. Can I be completely honest? I think I might have an association. I might have a negative. I'm not even kidding. I might have a negative childhood association with a banana thing. I feel like there was like something
Well, that makes
where
sense.
I think one of my parents might have spanked me with a banana peel. No, I think there was like a candy. So I'm not even kidding. I feel like I have a bad. We used to have something about being poor. I think we had to have some kind of banana flavored.
Medicine?
Was there such a thing?
Well, not when I was a youth, but maybe when at the 5 and dime store when you were younger.
Whatever.
I do believe banana was a flavor. Bubblegum is a classic one.
Do you remember when?
Cherry, grape. Those are the kid ones. So banana, probably.
What type of medicine are you talking about? What are you referring to?
Oh, well, so children's antibiotics like amoxicillin is
That's
that
what I was about to
pink,
ask you.
thick bubblegum stuff.
Yes.
But a lot of pharmacies, even like mercantile stores, like old ones, they would compound it with syrups with flavorings. So cherry, strawberry, vanilla.
Do they still? And do you remember, or is this because I picked it up at the 5 and dime store? Do you remember when you were little? Well, this happened to me, and then I don't know if you remember this. When we were little, people that were born I was born in 74. Whatever the F I am. Wait, boomer? What am I, a boomer? Generation X?
You are not a boomer.
None of these things make sense, by the
My
way. We talked about this the
God.
other day. They go Generation Y, Generation...
No.
Why didn't we just go like 1 and 2 and 3? Why are they... It makes no sense, these letters and numbers.
Well, I'm a millennial because of me being of age like over the millennium.
Isn't millennial mean life, never life without the internet? Is that true?
I thought it was like at the turn of the millennium is why we got the name coin.
Shit. Is it
When we
is
were
it
becoming
Generation
of age.
Z is
That's
maybe
after. Yeah.
life? Dude, Generation Z is never having to wonder what a penis or vagina looks like. It's right on your phone. My generation, I'm in a dumpster. Do you know the
Wow.
first porn I ever saw
don't
was in a
need to-
dumpster?
Well, how did we go from like banana cream flavoring to dumpster diving for porn?
It's what everyone on Gutfeld wonders. They go, how did he turn this around and it's about his penis all of a sudden?
Well, wonderful. I am in agreement with all of the audience of America then.
Remember-
How did you... Why are we talking about porn in dumpsters?
Remember yesterday we were doing these couples cards where you ask questions and you go, what superpower would you have if you could have one?
Yeah.
I already have one. Turn anything into a dick joke.
Whatever.
Yeah. So,
I had a good answer for mine. Do you remember what it was?
superpower?
Uh-huh.
What was it?
You don't even remember. You weren't even
You said
listening.
flying.
No, I said that was like as
I
a
said
child.
teleportation.
Yeah, and then I said as a child I thought flying would be cool. But the one that I would really like to choose
I forgot.
to help with efficiency? You weren't even fucking listening.
How could I not remember this?
Sorry, I swore, but you frustrated me.
We only did 300 of these questions. I can't believe I forgot one. What is it again?
To never be tired, to never have to sleep.
That's right. And we talked about how
So that I could get so much more stuff done.
I
I'd
like.
love to never be fatigued.
But what about don't you love?
I'd be lonely when other people slept, and I've thought about this. Believe me, I've thought about this question so much. It's like
Erica?
the question, what?
Could you think for a minute about what you just said? You said if you were up all the time, you'd be lonely. Because why?
Well, everyone else would be sleeping.
Do you know what my life is like with you?
But I would get so much work done.
Do you understand what my life is like? It's
can't
often
help
I'm
that I
sitting in bed
sleep.
while you're asleep. You just described my life.
I prioritize sleep in my healthy lifestyle.
Erica does this new thing where she goes, it's like 10 o'clock and she goes, I am so wide awake. What do you want to do? And I'll be like, I don't know. Let me just see what's on the TV. And I look over and you're like, this is
First
new
of all,
thing.
I'm not snoring.
You
I
don't snore. We're on a podcast. I don't know. I don't want to fold my hands up next to my head.
Well, maybe I love you so much I don't want to fall asleep, and then I can't help it. I can't keep my eyes open, and then I fall asleep.
So I just spent a lot of time watching you sleep. Here's my I have
That's
two.
creepy.
I have a medical question.
And that probably is true. What's your medical question?
I feel like it's not as creepy like watching you sleep now that we know each other. I feel like before when I did it, it was questionable. I have two medical questions. I've forgotten the second one, but I'm hoping I remember it. My
Wow.
question is, when I was little, they would go, you have to take your medicine. And it was that disgusting medicine you just described. It was the amoxicillin that we all remember.
Yep.
They go, oh, it tastes like bubble gum. Not really. It's disgusting and it kind of smells like bubblegum, but it's really tough to
Very
ingest.
bitter, but they still try to make it flavored like a pepperminty, bubblegummy gross.
But it's like when you go to the dentist, they go, "Oh, you want peppermint?" And you're like, "This is a cleaning supplies with a hint of peppermint." Like they're doing their best.
I think the cinnamon is wonderful.
I just went to a bathroom. We're in a hotel right now. I went in the men's bathroom, and it smelled like this beautiful cinnamon flavor. I go, let's not. I know what happens in here. Don't try to trick me. I don't need you to go the other way with it.
Okay, that's
don't bake an
ridiculous.
apple pie in here.
Bake
Just
an apple pie in there. I don't want the alternative.
smell like
I'm
cinnamon.
not going to
shit.
make an association of poop and apple pie, but I certainly don't need to walk in there after someone's annihilated a toilet.
It smelled like a rose in a vase
And it
of
smells
shit.
what a bathroom's supposed to smell like. Allow me to have a baked good. Bring on the pie.
You like that?
What?
We talked about. We're all
What person
with so
would
many things to
rather
discuss.
smell a normal bathroom smell? No, thank you.
I don't want to smell a regular one. I would like it to smell sterile and like bleach. I don't need to be like pumpkin spice. I know what's
Okay.
happening in here.
Okay, fine. Butthole or pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice.
Yeah, done. Moving
Okay.
on.
But the problem
Then
is
you
it
should
doesn't.
thank this hotel
It
for
doesn't
smelling.
completely get rid of the smell, so it's like a butthole spice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But it's better than just a butthole.
It's a little bit like a pumpkin sphincter,
Listen,
right?
I think you're
Okay.
complaining about something that you should be grateful for. Nobody
Maybe you're right.
wants to go into a bathroom and smell a bathroom,
Couple things.
but that's fine.
Do you remember we used to take this medicine, and they would say to you, "If you don't take this, what'll happen? If you don't take this, you go to the doctor, and they're going to do what?
Give you a shot.
They're going to give you a shot in your ass,
Yeah.
cheek."
That still happens.
It does, because I remember. You know, they go, "What's your earliest memory?" I have a memory where I am being held down by people on a whatever, right, with the table, and they're putting. It was in my childhood little mind. It was the longest needle. Is it a long needle? Is it still a long needle?
Yeah.
And they stabbed it, and I felt like it was thick.
Yeah.
And they stabbed it into my ass cheek. They still do that? Wow. I just thought, remember we were talking about how there was a test for one STD. I don't remember if it was herpes or whatever. And you used to have a swab in the end of your...
No, that was for gonorrhea and chlamydia, and you would take a Q-tip and put it in the urethral meatus, so basically the opening of the pee hole in the penis.
You ever done it?
Yes, I did it to a patient.
I've had it done.
You've had it done?
In college, we all went and got... You know what? I had a STD test, and I'd never had sex before. We just all were going. We just all went. I didn't understand that you
Well, you
couldn't...
can get sexually transmitted infections without sex. Any other contact, you can still have. So probably
You can't get it from what I had done at that time.
Well,
You can't get it from stalking.
that's.
No physical touch.
I'm a huge proponent of people getting tested for every single thing, as long as it wouldn't cause anxiety if they had the answer.
Yeah.
Like you know how like there's genetic testing that people want to know if they have a predisposition to developing certain things in their 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And I tell people, you know what? What are you going to do with the information? If it's going to help you, wonderful. But if you're like me and you'd be anxious and you'd worry, then you shouldn't do it. But like sexually transmitted infection testing, I think it's a great idea. And
I
now
do
it's
too.
super easy. You
That's-
just pee in a cup.
That is what I was wondering. If,
And blood tests.
So
So a blood draw and a urine test.
you used to
But-
have swab in the penis. Somebody invents something or does something. This is science really helping us out in real life where you go, wow, I no longer get a swab in the end of my...
Yeah.
But I was just wondering if maybe they did that with the needle in the child's ass. I was wondering, like, is there like a tab that goes under your tongue, it dissolves, it tastes like pumpkin spice, and I got the...
Well,
It's not like that.
the injections are specifically beneficial for children who have a difficult time ingesting medication. Say they're having a lot of vomiting.
Yeah.
So even if they swallow the medicine, they're vomiting it back up.
Sure.
So to inject something intramuscularly, it's one and done, and then the kid is okay. But obviously, you don't want to traumatize a child, and those
It's
are
awful.
very pain. So we'll do it in thighs or in your gluteus, in your butt.
Mm.
So you want to avoid that if possible, because it's painful and scary and traumatizing to a child.
It is. Do you have an earliest memory? That's my earliest memory.
An earliest memory of what? Of
Anything.
anything?
Anything. Not to put you on the spot.
I mean, of a traumatic event?
This was the question I was going to ask I was going to just ask you, do you have a memory? It could be a positive Christmas memory, a birthday. It could be, but I was going to guess it probably is traumatic, and that's why we remember it.
Sure.
You got one? If it's traumatic, you don't have to bring it up. But do you have a fun memory?
No.
Do you have any memories? Do you remember who I am?
Mm-mm.
Do you remember where we are?
Nope.
We're in Montana. So I have a couple more questions for you. This is kind of a selfish episode. We normally will take some questions or I see what people are talking about. But we are in Montana. We're in Big Sky, Montana right now. We just finished a run of shows. And I feel like we have a couple well-deserved days off. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, I'm actually staring at the mountains right now because I was trying to figure out a memory and I couldn't. But it's so pretty. Like, just to describe it, like, they just got snow here, 2 days ago?
I'm actually staring at
So,
yours.
like, you're staring at what?
Couple of peaks.
That was a really, like, cheesy joke. So I'm going to ignore it.
This is why I don't...
So,
remember
like,
you said to try out my Gutfeld jokes
we are
on you?
like
This is
at
why I wouldn't
the
have
top
done
of a mountain. We're
Mhm.
surrounded by huge mountain peaks the other way, but like there's a valley below, and you can see like lights. And I mean, you just said you were done with Montana, or your tour. So today's Thanksgiving Day, right? So they're doing like a Christmas ceremony lighting later. It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. I've had a really good time here, and we saw.
We don't know what we saw. We saw these big animals crossing the street.
We are doing Boise and Fairbanks a disservice by admitting that we saw moose, deer, elk, and we don't know what one it was.
I think it might have been an elk, but it had no horns.
For as long as
Could somebody write in and tell us what we saw from Montana or
could
somewhere
have been
else?
a porcupine or a bear at this point.
It was definitely a deerish animal.
Yeah, it
But with a
was.
bigger head than you would expect. It was like a cow and a deer. Beautiful
Yeah.
brown coat.
Uh-huh.
And it was two of them. And it was awesome. We went to...
Could it be a bull moose, like a female, like smaller one?
I have no idea.
No, I think it was more.
Oh, like a small... I don't know if they have moose here. So,
Of course they have moose here.
do they?
What? Do you think that you have a monopoly on moose in Alaska?
I didn't know there were moose here.
They just stop.
Do you know how often I've seen a moose?
They abide by the border, and they're just like, nope, not crossing here.
By the way, people think moose are friendly. They are not friendly.
no, they're scary.
Stay away from them.
Aren't they the most like dangerous of all of that kind of animal? Like way more than deer or elk.
I've heard that.
Aren't they much more aggressive?
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, they hurt more people. Do you know why though? Why the moose kills more people than any other animal? It's because they.
Is it because people think that they're unassuming and they approach them when they shouldn't?
It's because if they get hit by a car, sometimes they can fall into the car and kill the person. So it's not necessarily in the wild.
Oh.
That's what I heard. This could be one of those things where I repeat it and it's just completely not true.
Did they get you with their moose antler thingies, or did they stomp on you?
Yeah. They've in real life.
Yeah.
I think
No,
they antler
in
you.
cartoons.
I
What
thought
did
no. I mean, as
Bullwinkle
opposed to, I thought I meant as opposed to like in traffic. I think they get you with their moose horns.
Oh.
If not, it's a waste of a good set of horns.
Well, remember when we looked at the most gruesome way people were sentenced to death, and we found in India they would have people trampled by elephants?
Oh my god!
You don't remember that? You
I
and were
kind
looking
of remember
up
that.
Of like a true thing. So I was just thinking, moose,
Wow!
how would they do it? But they might trample
Did I
people
tell you
too.
that almost happened to me once? This is not even a joke.
From an elephant?
I was on a Carnival cruise ship, and they announced a drink special, and I was
stop it.
trampled. I was almost trampled by moose. I was in the hallway, and they go, "We're about to stop. It's last call." So, we just did a tour of Montana, and I did a one-man show, Erica, because I had you with me and we were traveling.
I said I would go up there and help you out, but
You
you
would've-
never asked me to.
But we didn't bring an opener. And so I'm doing kind of these. It's a long show. It's a 90-minute show. It's longer than normal. Normal comedy is like an hour. And I'm doing like these 90-minute shows. There's no opener. And it's been really fun. And we have we're meeting all these nice people. It was a theater tour. We did 4 theaters. And all's going well. We drive like a few hours to different places. And every place we go, we get better at how to set up for the show. Like I think as the first show, I showed up a little too late. And they were like, oh, we want to set up, a merch table and a place to take pictures. So I started getting a little more professional with it. And 2 nights ago, we were somewhere. And I go, let's go an hour early, meet everybody, do a sound check, act like this is a real tour.
Wait a minute. You neglected to say that the day before we had messed up on the time change,
That's right.
and we were
That's what caused
almost late, right? Like we were like messing around in the hotel thinking
Yeah.
we had like an extra hour, and looked at the clock because the clock hadn't been changed or updated either in the hotel room.
it. Thought it was now early.
And then pulled out our phones and went, oh, we have 2 minutes. So we're like
Yes.
rushing. We looked like jerks who didn't take it seriously. We're apologizing to
and
everybody.
there's no opening act.
And we felt awful because it was basically like, get on stage, bye. So
Yeah.
you, to make up for that,
I think you're right.
went way above and beyond the next day. I just feel like that's very important to context.
Great.
That you were like, I'm going to be the
Great
best
context.
comedian ever and show up really early and have everything set up perfectly. And it bit you in the ass.
But wait, but
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm laughing.
So
No, I won't
yeah.
give it away. I'll let you say it.
We
But I'm
go
just
in.
saying, I think it's important to know you
Great
really
context.
tried with all your heart
I
to
did.
make this the best experience possible.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, we went, and it's this beautiful theater, and it's empty because it's an hour and a half before showtime, and we do a sound check, and we get the monitors adjusted. Everything sounds great. Everyone's being very kind to us, and there's all this stuff in the green room, like sparkling water because I don't drink alcohol. I just feel very.
Bob Ross was
I
on
feel
the
Bob Ross was on
television.
TV in the background. We just felt like it was like a good situation. Everything was great, and I was leaving, and I was feeling good. I remember saying to you, "It feels good to get here early, and like really do this professionally." And I go, "I would like to talk to the merch guy, though. He didn't show up yet. The guy that was going to be selling my merch." And so we're leaving to go back to the hotel. We're going to come back at showtime, and I call the guy in charge, and I go, "When do you think the merch guy's going to be there? I would love to have a quick chat with him about how to set things up." He says he just got here. He's setting up your merch now. I look over. We're now driving out of the backstage area, and we're passing the front entrance. And I look through a window, and I see, oh my God, there's the merch guy. I'm going to go speak to him. So I walk up to the box office, and there's a nice woman there. And I go, "Hi, my name is Jamie. I'm performing tonight. Can I talk to that merch guy? Could you open these two double doors that are beside you?" They were like some kind of industrial doors, not the entrance to the theater, side entrance, because there were audience members coming in the front. So what happened was I go to the doors. Nothing happens for maybe like 10 seconds. So then I think maybe she unlocked it and I'm supposed to open it. That's the thought that went through my head. So I reach over, I lean in, and I go to open the right door. And as I pull, it's locked. And then, swear to God, all of a sudden I'm inside the building talking to the woman, and I don't remember walking inside. And people are going, "Are you okay?" And then a guy goes, "You're bleeding." And I'm like, "What's happening?" And what happened was when I was opening the right-hand door, she, I believe, front kicked the other door. It opened so swiftly,
I don't want to laugh, but I didn't expect you to say that.
and it hit me in the nose, the forehead, and the arm. But I think the nose took like the brunt of the force.
Yeah.
And my forehead, I looked in the little window, was just immediately starting to swell. It is now less than 60 minutes before showtime. My nose is bleeding. I don't know the extent of the damage here. My head hurts really badly, and it's getting bigger and bigger. It's like a quarter size, though. But I'm thinking of boxing matches where you punch the guy and you don't put the stuff on, it gets bigger. So I'm like, holy shit. My first thought is like, we can't cancel the show. They're already here. This isn't even like the morning of or the day before. We probably have to do a show. But I'm like, I don't want to do this if I'm bleeding or if there's so I'm kind of freaking out. And you know what my main concern was?
What?
That the lady didn't feel bad.
That's very nice of you.
But it's why but I really am like that, like where she started freaking out and she was going, "Do you need to hospital care? Do you need to go whatever? I'll get you ibuprofen, whatever." And I'm just going, I go to the guy. I knew I had you in the car. And Erica's a doctor, and I knew she could help me in this situation. I was thinking I should get out of here. We should try to fix this, and I should leave this. I don't want this woman to feel bad. I don't want people looking at me. So I immediately am like, "Guys, I'm totally okay. I'm just going to leave. I'll come back." And the guy's going, "You don't seem okay. You seem like you didn't know where you were. Your nose is bleeding, whatever." And so I'm so worried about the lady feeling bad that I come to the car and I open the door. And we were just in such great moods prior to that. We're early.
Yeah.
We're professionals. And then now I got a big
No, I didn't know anything. You remember what you did to me?
yeah, I remember I think I just said we had a problem.
You didn't even look at me. You sat in the car and you had your hand like over your eyes, your forehead, and your nose.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, "I have a problem."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What?" And you just like pause, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're gonna say. And then you're just like,
And I moved my hand, right?
"I just got hit in the face." And I'm like, "What?" And it's like pitch black in the car, so I can't see. And you turn towards me, and there's blood all in the external bridge of your nose, not nosebleed. I mean, like somebody like it puncture wounded you, so that was bad. And you immediately had a large goose egg on your forehead and you're like, let's get out of here. The lady feels really, really bad. She's looking at us right now through the box office window. I just want to drive. And I'm like, how the heck are you going to drive? You just had a head injury.
Yeah.
But,
so we drive to the hotel.
Yeah.
And that's when I find out some medical stuff that I think might be interesting. I'm more worried about, you were giving me suggestions so that I wouldn't die or have long-term problems. I was more concerned about how can I not look stupid and get the show over with.
Yeah,
so we had like these two different.
It was very interesting how you were very fixated on, and it makes sense, your cosmetic appearance, and you completely breezed over the fact that you blacked out. And I'm sitting there doing like a neurological examination on you. That's why I was
did
like,
do it. I remember that.
Yeah, I shine a light
How'd
in
I
your
do?
eyes.
I crushed it, right?
Well, the cognitive portion you're still lacking, but you did okay with like the other stuff.
Do you know that same day, Jay Leno? This is, if you're listening to this, it was Thanksgiving. The same day that happened to me, Jay Leno took a shortcut to go to a club, fell down a hill, and same thing, head injury. I think he might have performed with an eye patch on.
Oh my god!
But a lot of people were, when I posted it up, a lot of people were messaging me like, "You guys must have this thing where Jay Leno doesn't need he doesn't need to do a comedy show.
Yeah,
this has nothing to do with money. Like, oh, I gotta go to work and make sure I get a paycheck. It has to do with, even at our such different levels. Jay probably had 1,000 people at a sold out theater, and I had a nice crowd at my place. There's no part of you that thinks I'm just going to skip this today, because you're realizing.
Well, you have a strong work ethic, and truthfully, I think because you are so nice, you'd feel bad disappointing people. So unless you like physically cannot go on stage, I've seen you. I'll digress and we'll go back to it, but I've seen you have such bad vertigo you couldn't leave the hotel room all day. Remember that in Austin?
Yeah.
Like you were just lying on the bed, like you could not move. And then you go to the show and you grabbed the microphone stand and you tried to tell a story and you spun around and I saw you like wobble and I was like, no, like you didn't leave the bed all day and you still performed.
I think part of it is you feel like as a comedian, like, come on, guys, it's not that hard. It's like an hour and a half. So I think that's part of it. If you told me,
but you have to be sharp too. If you're out of it, and like think about it, when you're sick, when someone has the flu or something, what's one of the biggest things people say? I feel spacey, right? Like I feel out of it.
I definitely felt out of it. Head
when
injury
you're
day.
sick or have a head injury, you feel out of it. So how are you sharp? How are you witty? How do you remember stuff?
Well, and what happened was that day.
Impressive.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We go back to the hotel. Yeah. Eric immediately gets me. You got to go ice. What is happening when you have a bruise?
Well, you're having bleeding. And the problem is, so you had blood vessels that ruptured, right? So the blood is like pooling outward.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is for where you experienced it, I was actually able to reassure you, right? You have a forehead bone.
Yeah.
And then basically skin. You don't have like a deep internal, like your stomach, your gut, since you love that word.
Right.
Where like all the bleeding can go and you don't know.
It just has, so it just pops
it can
out.
only go out. It can't go in.
Yeah.
Because you didn't fracture your frontal bone. So it's like a barrier. It's like this armor. So the bleeding and the swelling can only go out. So you see it immediately because it can't go anywhere else.
And isn't it also, I know in boxing, it's so important to get the ice on immediately, or sometimes they forget. Like sometimes in the moment, a cornerman has actually forgotten to ice a boxer's face. It happens kind of not all the time, but it's not a super rare occurrence, and their face balloons up, and that's their one job is to get that ice, and they also use like the inswell on it. But
well,
you
it
were
helps
like
with edema or swelling. Right,
yeah.
The ice will constrict, so it kind of loculates the area, so it won't keep spreading as much as you can.
So we did it.
And we got
iced
lucky
it.
with your bleeding. Your bleeding actually was what worried me.
It was not that bad at all. It was like what was it? That was so weird. There's no visible cut, but there was blood.
Oh, there was. There was a small one. Yeah, I cleaned it off. It was like a minor puncture wound, but again, it was on the bridge of your nose, right where there's bone, and it didn't go through the bone. So the bleeding came out, stopped quite quickly. So thankfully you didn't have any internal damage. The scary stuff is if it's in your belly and you bleed and bleed and bleed, but you can't tell if there's swelling because it's inside.
You're always telling me I have a belly and a gut. I just don't. I feel like an insult.
I was trying to reassure you that your injuries were mostly superficial. I was worried about the head injury and the blacking out for a few minutes or seconds, but you didn't have loss of consciousness, and that's really good too. You didn't have a seizure. You walked. You were cognitively intact. You didn't have any focal deficits where I was worried. So you were fine. I was just impressed, and I was also worried. And I thought it was very interesting that you were just like, make sure I look okay, put makeup on me.
Oh, yeah, we did makeup.
When we go back, you had the most raging headache, and you were going to take ibuprofen. And
this was also interesting. So the club said, or the theater said, we could give you like ibuprofen, and you said you can't take that.
It's a blood thinner, right?
Blood
so
thinner.
we're trying to get the swelling down. The last thing I want is more bleeding.
So we wanted-
aspirin or anti-inflammatory would do that. So we needed plain acetaminophen,
Which is
Tylenol.
So we go.
I asked specifically.
You took charge.
For plain acetaminophen.
Because they usually have like a first aid kit or
I
something.
said nothing else, nothing else. And then they came back and said plain
got it for you.
acetaminophen. And I said,
They double
yes,
checked.
plain acetaminophen for your headache so the show could go on.
And then
They did not bring
They come
me
with those.
back
They come with
plain
one of these little.
acetaminophen.
They come with these little packets, and it's Tylenol, cold, and flu.
Right.
Now, I don't have a cold. I don't have a flu. It's just my head hurts.
Yeah.
But we're starting. It's past showtime at this point, and my head hurts. And so I go, can I just take this? Like, what? We can't leave. We can't send a runner to get another thing.
Yes,
It's time
so
for the show.
instead of acetaminophen, you had acetaminophen, guaifenesin, dextromethorphan, and pseudoephedrine.
Which I don't take that stuff ever.
Is a meth cocktail.
So it's like a meth cocktail, which we were at first like, damn it, they didn't give us what we wanted. But then, as the meth cocktail was coursing through my veins, I feel like it helped me. Because the only reason I brought it before is like these one-man shows.
Yeah.
That 90 minutes, that extra 30 is no joke.
You
And
were-
it went okay.
You were talking pretty fast.
It
You
went
were
okay
feeling
with
pretty
the.
good.
It actually worked out.
Can we talk about what happened that night?
What? I don't remember anything. What
I
happened
was
that
just
night?
going to say when we had sex, and you just said you don't remember
What, is there-
anything.
but what happened? Did something
No,
happen?
We had sex.
Oh, you're saying like I was
You
healed?
don't even remember.
No, you said it like there was a thing, like something.
Yeah, you had to stop because you thought you were going to have a heart attack.
Oh, that's right.
That was that night where you said your heart was racing.
Oh, that's right.
Well, you know what? Let's just edit all of this out because apparently you did sustain a traumatic brain injury.
Which, by the way,
with your recall
even during
not being
sex,
intact.
the show must go on. Whether it's a head injury for a show or I feel like I'm having a heart attack.
I wasn't trying to bring it up to be vulgar. I was trying to bring it up to the fact that like you're in very good cardiovascular health. You exercise regularly, and you had to pause because you said your heart was like beating out of your chest. That medication is a stimulant.
Yeah.
It still was in your body, and you were having pretty substantial tachycardia.
Part of
That
that,
medicine's not to be
was-
messed with. I don't like that medicine.
I think it was partial head injury, partial
Don't be gross.
the meth thing, and I
Don't
think a
be gross.
little part of it was I couldn't believe someone as hot as you was sleeping with me.
Don't
so
be-
I go,
don't.
is this real?
Do you want some more
Am I
banana cream
dreaming?
soda? It's really good.
I did not. Do you know the only other time that But anyway, the show was great, and we had a good time.
And you
Thank you,
didn't have a
Dr.
heart
Erica,
attack.
for fixing me. Didn't. But isn't it funny that the show must go on with guys? After we finished being intimate, you go, "What is something wrong?" And I go, "Oh, I just felt like I was having a heart attack." And you're like, "Why didn't you stop?" I go, "Oh,
Yes.
we don't. The show must go on." The
And I
title of
even
this
told
episode is
you
"The Show
that
Must Go
I
On."
know I have a patient whose spouse passed away while they were intimate, and I told you that.
That's got to be horrible.
Of course it is. That's why if you don't feel well,
Imagine dying with blue balls.
I'm talking about the surviving spouse and how traumatic that is. So the
Oh,
next time
I
you
thought
think
you
you're
meant
going to
the
have
other
a
guy.
heart attack, maybe put it away
Okay.
and like do some breathing and chill.
Not easy. Once you start, can't hard to get the toothpaste back in the tube. You know what I mean?
Then just throw away the tube.
Do you know the only other time? Have you ever blacked out? I blacked out one other time. I think I might have told you about it on this podcast. I don't want to repeat it. Do you remember I told you I was on Real Rob and they were fixing a camera and they had cleaned the window? You have to clean all windows when you're filming because any smudge will ruin everything. And we were in between shots and I walked face first into a window,
Whoops.
blacked out, like laying on the floor.
Did the
And,
window break?
Window did not break, but it was a much worse injury to my face. It was similar to the
I was wondering if you
lady
got like
did.
lacerations or anything.
Lacerations.
Well, no.
Yeah.
If the window didn't break, how would you have a cut?
It was bleeding crazy bleeding, and they had to. I don't know where it came from, but I did get cut somehow.
I'm glad you're okay. No.
Maybe
I
not
don't-
lacerations, just a cut.
I've
if that's
never
different.
had a syncopal episode.
A what episode?
Completely a loss of consciousness where you pass out.
Yeah, I did. I had
Pre-syncope
that.
is like seeing those, like the tunnel vision. It's getting black. And,
Yeah,
But like
This was
syncope,
lost time.
Fully like lost consciousness. You're out.
I had totally lost time these two times. It's my second time. Listen,
What?
we didn't get to any of the stuff I was going to ask you on Afraid to Ask this episode, so we're going to have to revisit this. But
You just asked me a ton of stuff, including how you refuse to stop having sex even if you're having a heart attack. And I got to explain why I had concerns with it.
You know what? I just
That's
feel like
fine.
guys are more like the show must go on, and a lot of women are like, let's just not go to the show tonight.
Well, I would like to say
Mhm.
you took a form of legal meth, and I did say that to the people who brought you the medication, and they looked at me like I was being really rude, and I said, no, really, that's why it's put behind the pharmacy counter, because people use these products to create meth products. Like they'll
Yes.
create street drug components from, that's why so many of these medications are getting, well, it's either you get carded, you can only buy a little bit,
That's
or
right.
they won't let you have it unless a pharmacist gives it to you.
And-
so it's dangerous. That is the take-home message from today. I'm going to talk over you. There's a lot of over-the-counter medications that are dangerous.
Well, I was going to
Very
say,
dangerous.
if you listen to this episode, if you look in the show notes, we will have a recipe for meth using household objects and Tylenol flu and cold for anybody that's interested.
That's not funny.
All right.
Why are you smiling?
Don't do that.
You think it's funny.
Public service announcement. Meth is bad. Everybody knows that, right? Listen,
Jamie,
we got to go. This is Afraid to Ask. This episode's
Wow.
called, do you know? The show must go on.
wow.
We'll see you next time.
Oh my God.
Coming up on the next episode of Afraid to Ask. And I might have said, like, man, it's kind of weird. This guy looks like he's never been to the dentist. He has like a good job. And then he got in the car, like we were driving him somewhere, and we were talking, and for some reason the dentist comes up. I go, this is not.
You mean because you just brought it up? It's
I
like,
don't
oh my
think I
God,
did.
look at
He
your
did.
teeth.
He did.
Right.
And he said that he had as a kid, a horrible, painful dental experience. He just brings up, and maybe that's what he's doing the disclaimer, and he can't go back. And a friend of ours had a similar thing. Can't go to the dentist. Hasn't been in like 8 years because he had somebody hurt. You know,
So they'll actually provide anesthesia for that.
for like
I don't mean like just laughing gas. They can put you under general anesthesia if you have severe anxiety and need substantial dental work.
it's general where you're just totally out.
Yeah.
Why can't I do that?